Welcome to Guided by Grace, where we embark on deep explorations of faith, purpose, and resilience. Today, we're opening with one of the most powerful lines of Psalm 91. He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. These words are simple yet profound, offering a vision of peace, strength, and unshakable security in a world full of challenges. Psalm 91, 1-2 takes us straight to the heart of divine assurance, a shelter, not in the ordinary sense, but a spiritual one that protects, empowers, and renews. This shelter isn't about hiding from life's challenges. It's a place where we gather the courage and peace to face them head-on. These verses invite us to let go of the endless striving, stress, and uncertainty, and instead to rest in a sanctuary of divine love. To dwell in this shelter is to understand that peace is not the absence of struggle, but a deep-rooted strength that comes from trusting in a power greater than ourselves. But what does it mean to dwell in the shelter of the Almighty, especially when life feels relentless? In the modern world, where chaos and pressure seem ever-present, these verses promise that there's a foundation we can turn to, a place that grounds us amid any storm. Think about someone like Warren Buffett, the iconic investor whose calm, principle-based approach is his shelter in a world of market instability. Even when the economy shifts unpredictably, Buffett remains focused, calm, and confident in his approach. He doesn't need to panic because his foundation is secure. Likewise, Psalm 91 encourages us to trust in an unwavering foundation, one that provides strength, hope, and direction, no matter the circumstances. This passage isn't simply a poetic vision. It's a call to embrace a mindset where we place our trust in something greater. Imagine the pressures faced by a public figure like Michelle Obama. Her memoir, Becoming, describes the need for a stable foundation to withstand the scrutiny, criticism, and expectations of being in the public eye. For Michelle, that foundation is family and faith, a shelter that allows her to stay grounded and authentic. Psalm 91 offers a similar shelter for us, one that provides both peace and purpose, even when the world feels heavy. When we choose to dwell in the presence of the Almighty, we tap into a resilience that can weather any storm, grounded in faith that lifts us beyond the fears that might otherwise hold us back. Perhaps you're facing a challenge that seems too big to handle, a tough decision, a period of doubt, or a path filled with unknowns. Picture the mental discipline of athletes like Michael Jordan, who, despite failures, continued forward because he was anchored in a mindset that transcended the moment. Jordan's commitment to resilience and discipline became his mental shelter, a place he could rely on when he faced setbacks. Psalm 91 invites us into a similar experience. It's not just a shelter to retreat to, it's a sanctuary that empowers us to stand firm, knowing we have a safe haven in the heart of God. So what does it mean for us to rest in the shadow of the Almighty? This phrase suggests a closeness, a nearness to God that feels as intimate as a parent guiding their child. To rest in God's shadow is to find a peace that surpasses understanding, a comfort in the midst of fear. Picture a figure like Angela Merkel, known for her calm, steady presence during European crises. Merkel's sense of calm, even in the face of intense uncertainty, created stability for those around her. A sense of peace that was like a shadow of protection over others. Psalm 91 promises a similar calm for those who trust in God. It's a peace that allows us to stand steady like Merkel did, offering a shadow of calm that extends into every area of our lives. When we choose this divine shelter as our home base, we gain a peace that transcends any physical or material circumstance. It's a reminder that, no matter what may be happening around us, We are shielded by a force that remains constant and unshakable. Just as parents are a protective rock for their children, or as Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson speaks about being a source of strength and guidance for his family, this psalm promises that God is our ultimate rock, a foundation we can lean on no matter what challenges arise. As we explore these verses together, let's allow ourselves to see this divine shelter as more than just a comforting image. It's a call to rest, to find security and courage. It's an invitation to anchor ourselves in God's unchanging promises, knowing that this shelter is not a temporary escape, but a lasting sanctuary. Here, within the Almighty's embrace, we are not only protected, but empowered, equipped to face whatever life brings. Let's delve in Psalm 91 with an open heart, discovering what it truly means to live under the shelter of a love that never fails. Psalm 91 opens with a powerful image. He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. This verse speaks to the profound comfort and assurance that comes from placing oneself under divine protection. In a world filled with chaos, unexpected challenges, and countless uncertainties, these words serve as a reminder of the peace available when we find refuge in a higher power. It's a sense of security that goes beyond physical safety, touching the emotional and spiritual realms of our lives. Believers are invited to make this divine shelter their home base, a source of constant reassurance and strength. This idea of dwelling in God's shelter can be likened to a stable foundation that grounds us amidst life's storms. Think about someone like Warren Buffett, one of the world's most successful investors. Despite the ups and downs of the stock market, Buffett has famously remained calm, often advising others to stay focused on long-term goals rather than panicking in the face of temporary setbacks. For Buffett, the shelter isn't necessarily a physical place. It's his principles and experience that provide a steady foundation. Similarly, Psalm 91 calls on believers to find a place of mental and spiritual stability in God's presence, knowing that this shelter is where they can rest without fear of the unknown. Buffett's calm under pressure serves as a relatable analogy for the kind of peace Psalm 91 describes. Just as investors look to Buffett for guidance in turbulent times, believers can look to God as their Most High, a stable, unchanging presence in an unpredictable world. This divine shelter provides more than just physical safety. It offers emotional security, allowing believers to let go of anxieties and find solace in a higher power. Another way to understand this concept of divine shelter is through the experiences of public figures who have navigated intense public scrutiny while maintaining a sense of inner calm. Former First Lady Michelle Obama, for example, often faced immense pressure in the public eye. Yet, she has spoken about how her grounding in family and faith provided her with a sense of stability and peace. In her memoir Becoming, Michelle describes the importance of a solid foundation in handling the challenges of life and leadership. For her, this foundation was family and faith, a shelter that enabled her to stay true to herself amidst the noise. Psalm 91 offers a similar promise to believers, a place of rest and stability, even when life feels overwhelming. This metaphor of divine shelter extends to anyone seeking peace in a world that often feels chaotic. For many, life's daily pressures, from work stress to personal struggles, can feel relentless. When basketball legend Michael Jordan talks about his career, he often reflects on the mental discipline that helped him stay focused and resilient despite failures and setbacks. Jordan's commitment to excellence and focus on fundamentals became his mental shelter, allowing him to persevere and eventually become one of the greatest athletes of all time. Psalm 91 encourages a similar mindset, finding a secure place to retreat to, a place that offers strength and refuge even when faced with life's toughest challenges. The verse goes on to describe dwelling in the shadow of the Almighty. This phrase, too, carries a deep sense of intimacy and closeness. To be in someone's shadow implies a certain nearness, a trust that allows one to rest without fear. Think of influential leaders like Angela Merkel, who, during her tenure as Chancellor of Germany, was often described as a calm and steady presence amid European crises. Merkel was known for her pragmatic approach, making decisions that helped stabilize situations, even in the face of great uncertainty. Merkel's steady leadership provided a shadow of calm for the European Union, much like the comfort Psalm 91 describes for those who dwell in the shadow of God. This shadow of the Almighty is also reminiscent of parents who provide security and guidance to their children. For instance, many people look up to public figures like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who often speaks about the importance of being a source of support and protection for his family. Johnson describes his role as a provider and protector, a rock that his loved ones can lean on. Similarly, Psalm 91 offers believers a shadow of protection, a closeness that allows them to feel secure and guarded, just as a child feels when they're near a protective parent. This sense of shelter creates an environment where believers can focus on their lives without constant worry, knowing they have a higher power watching over them. For those facing fear or uncertainty, Psalm 91's opening verses provide a profound invitation to rest in God's presence and find peace in His protection. It's a reminder that divine shelter isn't just a concept, but a daily reality for those who choose to dwell there. Like renowned figures who rely on their grounding principles, family or mental discipline to stay calm under pressure, believers are encouraged to find their own grounding in God's promises. It's about choosing to make God's presence their refuge, creating a foundation of peace and stability that remains unshaken by life's storms. In these opening verses, Psalm 91 tells us that life's challenges don't disappear, but they don't have to destabilize us either. When we choose to dwell in the shelter of the Almighty, we can face whatever comes our way with confidence and calm. It's a shelter that transcends physical boundaries, offering peace that settles the heart and mind. Just as leaders, athletes, and visionaries find their own sources of grounding, believers are invited to trust in a shelter that is always available, always protective, and always filled with peace. In verses 3 through 6, Psalm 91 offers a comforting promise: protection from dangers that are often hidden from sight, snares, deadly diseases, and even the terror of night. This part of the psalm taps into a universal human fear, the unknown. It reassures believers that even when facing threats they can't see, they are safeguarded by a divine presence. This unseen protection becomes a source of inner peace, allowing people to live confidently, knowing they are being watched over. One relatable example of this kind of unseen protection is the experience of those who deal with security risks at a high level. Take former U.S. President Barack Obama. During his presidency, he faced countless threats, many of which were neutralized behind the scenes by a team of security experts and intelligence officials. While much of this protection was invisible to the public, it allowed Obama to move forward with his duties without constantly looking over his shoulder. Similarly, Psalm 91 promises that believers are protected from unseen dangers, allowing them to focus on their lives without the weight of fear. Just as a leader like Obama relies on a security team to deal with hidden threats, believers are encouraged to trust in God's protection to handle the dangers they may never see. The notion of unseen protection also resonates in the medical field. During the COVID-19 pandemic, health experts like Dr. Anthony Fauci became symbolic figures of guidance and security, providing reassurance to the public in a time of great uncertainty. Though the virus was invisible to the naked eye, its impact was felt worldwide, causing widespread fear and anxiety. Dr. Fauci's role was to educate and guide people towards safety, much like Psalm 91 describes God's role as a divine protector who shields believers from hidden dangers. Just as people turn to medical professionals to navigate the pandemic, believers are reminded to turn to God for protection against unseen threats, trusting that even in times of uncertainty, they are being watched over. The psalm goes on to say, "You will not fear the terror of night, nor the arrow that flies by day." This imagery is vivid and relatable, as it highlights the very real fears that people face at different times, both the hidden dangers of the night and the more direct, visible threats of the day. Picture the life of a public figure like Taylor Swift. Known for her resilience and openness about the challenges she faces in the music industry, Swift has shared how she navigates through the pressures of fame, criticism, and even security threats. She's spoken about dealing with stalkers and threats to her safety, yet she continues to move forward, trusting her security team and the measures in place to keep her safe. In a way, Swift's experience mirrors the message of Psalm 91. Even when facing threats, there is a protective force that allows one to proceed confidently, unburdened by fear. The terror of night can also be seen as a metaphor for the mental and emotional battles people face, fears that often emerge in quiet moments when one is alone with their thoughts. Consider an athlete like Michael Phelps, the Olympic swimmer who, despite his achievements, has been open about his struggles with mental health. For Phelps, the terror of night might represent the challenges of anxiety and depression, battles that aren't visible but are intensely real. Just as Psalm 91 promises protection from these invisible threats, Phelps has found ways to overcome these struggles, building resilience through support systems, therapy, and a commitment to mental wellness. This mirrors the Psalm's assurance that even when facing hidden struggles, believers have divine support to carry them through. In addition to these mental and emotional dangers, Psalm 91 also speaks to the fear of physical harm, the arrow that flies by day. This line reminds believers that protection extends to the visible, external threats in life as well. Imagine the experience of firefighters, police officers, or military personnel who put themselves in harm's way daily. Figures like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who often portrays strong, courageous characters in his films, have spoken about their admiration for first responders and military members who face direct threats as part of their daily routines. In real life, Johnson himself has discussed how his strong sense of family and personal values act as a kind of armor against negative influences. Psalm 91 encourages believers to see God's protection as a similar kind of armor, shielding them from harm in their day-to-day lives, whether the threat is visible or hidden. This verse also calls to mind the story of someone like Malala Yousafzai, who, despite facing life-threatening danger, continued to fight for her right to education. She was attacked by those who opposed her mission, yet survived and continued her work with even greater determination. Malala's resilience and her faith in her cause give her the strength to face visible and invisible threats alike. Psalm 91's promise that 1,000 may fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, but it will not come near you, resonates in her story. It's a reminder that those who stand in faith can face adversity with courage, knowing they are under divine protection. Psalm 91 reassures believers that whether they are facing physical threats, emotional struggles, or dangers they can't see, there is a shield over them. Just as prominent figures, leaders, and advocates have found strength to persevere despite external pressures, believers are encouraged to move through life with confidence, knowing they are under the protection of a divine guardian. These verses give believers permission to release their worries, to place their trust in a force greater than themselves, and to live without fear of what might be hiding in the shadows. In sum, Psalm 91's promise of protection against the terror of night and the arrow that flies by day is a call to live boldly. It encourages believers to step out in faith, knowing they are covered by a divine presence that guards against every kind of danger, both seen and unseen. By letting go of fear, they can focus on their purpose, their relationships, and their personal growth. Confident that whatever threats may exist, they are protected and cared for. Just as public figures rely on security teams and support systems to feel safe, believers are reminded that they, too, are guarded, empowered to walk forward with strength and peace. In verses 7 through 10, Psalm 91 offers a remarkable promise. 1,000 may fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, but it will not come near you. This image of standing unharmed amidst chaos and destruction is one of profound resilience. These verses speak to the strength and protection that believers can hold on to, even in the face of overwhelming adversity. They suggest that with faith one can stand firm and unshaken, regardless of the turmoil around them. This kind of resilience is often seen in influential figures who, despite immense obstacles, have achieved success and inspired millions. Take Oprah Winfrey, for instance. Born into poverty and facing numerous challenges early in life, Oprah overcame personal trauma, discrimination, and hardship to become one of the world's most influential media moguls. Her journey is one of incredible strength and determination, proof that with the right foundation, it's possible to rise above adversity. Just as Oprah stood strong amidst setbacks, Psalm 91 encourages believers to place their trust in divine protection, allowing them to weather life's storms with resilience. Oprah's journey is a testament to the power of standing firm and rising above the challenges that could have otherwise brought her down. Similarly, these verses remind us of the resolve found in people like Nelson Mandela. Mandela spent 27 years imprisoned under apartheid in South Africa, yet emerged with a spirit of forgiveness and a commitment to peace. He didn't let the hatred or oppression he experienced embitter him. Instead, he became a beacon of hope and unity for his country. Mandela's life demonstrates the strength of holding on to a higher purpose and belief, even when surrounded by circumstances designed to break him. His resilience is a living example of Psalm 91's assurance that even if thousands fall around you, you can stand firm. This kind of strength isn't just about surviving, it's about thriving, turning hardship into fuel for change and growth. The verse, "You will only observe with your eyes and see the punishment of the wicked," speaks to a form of justice that isn't always visible immediately, but is inevitable. It's a reminder that those who walk with integrity and faith don't need to seek revenge or act out of bitterness. They can trust that justice will prevail. Consider the story of Malala Yousafzai, who, after being attacked by the Taliban for advocating girls' education, didn't let hatred take root in her heart. Instead, she continued to speak out, becoming the youngest ever Nobel Prize laureate and inspiring millions. Like the message in Psalm 91, Malala's resilience and commitment to justice in the face of cruelty are powerful examples of trusting that wrongdoing will eventually be addressed. Believers are encouraged to focus on their purpose, leaving justice in God's hands. Psalm 91 also says, "If you make the Most High your dwelling, even the Lord, who is my refuge, then no harm will befall you. No disaster will come near your tent." This line provides a sense of peace and security, reminding believers that they are protected not only in their actions, but also in their homes, their families, and their personal lives. This reassurance resonates deeply for anyone who has had to protect their home or family amidst challenges. Think of the strength shown by people like Michelle Obama, who has spoken about the importance of creating a safe, loving environment for her children, even when facing intense public scrutiny. Michelle's commitment to family reflects this verse's message of protection over one's household. She made it a priority to provide a secure and loving foundation, despite the pressures of public life. The idea of no disaster coming near your tent also brings to mind the resilience of first responders who work tirelessly in the face of danger. Firefighters, healthcare workers, and police officers put themselves in harm's way to protect others, yet they remain committed to their purpose. Consider someone like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who often celebrates and honors first responders, recognizing their bravery and resilience. Though these individuals may face real threats, they continue to serve, often relying on a strong sense of purpose and duty to guide them. Psalm 91 offers believers a similar promise of safety, empowering them to act boldly in the face of danger, knowing that they are watched over and protected. In a more personal sense, this protection also speaks to the mental strength needed to withstand life's pressures. Imagine someone like Steve Jobs, who faced relentless criticism and skepticism when he returned to Apple and introduced revolutionary products like the iPhone. Despite the intense pressure, Jobs remained confident in his vision and dedicated to his purpose. Psalm 91 encourages this kind of resilience, suggesting that when one is rooted in a higher purpose or belief, they can face adversity with strength and confidence. Like Jobs, believers are called to stand firm in their faith, trusting that they are shielded from harm as they pursue their path. The verses in this section of Psalm 91 remind us that life's greatest challenges do not have the power to overcome us when we're grounded in faith. They offer assurance that believers are surrounded by a shield of protection, allowing them to live courageously without fear of what may come. Just as Oprah, Mandela, Malala, and countless others have faced intense adversity and emerged stronger, Psalm 91 promises that believers too can walk through life unscathed by the threats that seem insurmountable. This strength doesn't mean the absence of hardship, but rather the ability to rise above it, becoming stronger with each test of faith. Psalm 91 ultimately encourages believers to find peace in knowing that, no matter the circumstances, they are held in divine protection. They can face life's challenges, both the visible and the invisible, without fear, standing firm with the knowledge that God's presence surrounds them. These verses inspire a sense of invincibility not born of arrogance, but of confidence in a greater power. They remind us that, like the influential figures we admire for their resilience, believers are empowered to walk through adversity with unwavering courage and faith. Verses 11 through 13 introduce the comforting image of angels as protectors who guard you in all your ways. This passage of Psalm 91 promises divine guidance and a type of spiritual security detail that ensures believers are shielded from harm. The idea of angels watching over us, guiding our steps, and preventing us from stumbling is both reassuring and empowering. It reminds believers that they're not alone in facing life's challenges. They have a support system beyond the physical realm, always ready to intervene. This concept of angels on guard resonates with the experiences of many notable figures who have described feeling guided by unseen forces throughout their lives. Think about someone like Martin Luther King Jr., who, despite facing daily threats, continued to advocate for civil rights with unwavering resolve. Dr. King often spoke about the presence of God in his life, giving him strength to face adversity and courage to lead others. He believed that he was protected and guided, even in the face of immense danger. Much like the angels mentioned in Psalm 91, King's faith allowed him to move forward, trusting that he was being safeguarded and that his purpose was protected by a higher power. Similarly, consider Mother Teresa, whose life was dedicated to serving the poorest and most vulnerable in society. Operating in some of the world's harshest conditions, she often relied on faith to give her strength and courage. She spoke of feeling guided by God's presence, describing it as a call within a call that pushed her to care for those in need. In her work, Mother Teresa was protected and supported by an invisible force that allowed her to face difficult circumstances and bring hope to countless lives. Her experience mirrors the promise of angelic guidance in Psalm 91, showing how a strong foundation in faith can inspire people to pursue even the most challenging missions without fear. Psalm 91's promise of angelic guidance also speaks to anyone who has experienced moments where they felt they were saved from harm by some unseen force. Take, for example, a well-known figure like Denzel Washington, who has openly discussed how faith has influenced his life and career. Washington has described moments in his life where he felt guided and protected by a higher power. And he often credits his success to following this inner guidance. He's spoken about the importance of trusting in something greater than oneself, suggesting that we all have angels watching over us, pushing us toward our purpose. Just as Denzel places his trust in God's guidance, Psalm 91 encourages believers to walk confidently, knowing that divine protection is always near. The verse continues with the powerful assurance, "They will lift you up in their hands so that you will not strike your foot against a stone." This metaphor suggests that believers can avoid life's pitfalls and obstacles, guided safely through difficult situations. It's similar to the way pilots rely on air traffic controllers to navigate safely through skies crowded with unseen dangers. Pilots like Captain Chesley "Sully" Sullenberger, who famously landed a damaged plane on the Hudson River, exemplify the idea of being lifted up and guided through extraordinary circumstances. Sully's successful emergency landing was seen as miraculous, yet it was his training, along with unseen elements of timing and circumstance, that guided him to safety. Believers can see this as a modern example of the Psalm's promise. Just as Sully was guided through a potentially fatal situation, they too are lifted up and protected from the stones that may lie in their path. This divine support also provides believers with the courage to tackle their own lions and serpents in life. As the psalm suggests, they will tread upon the lion and the cobra. This imagery is symbolic of the courage required to face significant challenges, with the reassurance that they will emerge victorious. Imagine the tenacity of someone like Malala Yousafzai, who, despite a life-threatening attack, continued to advocate for girls' education with even more determination. Malala faced incredible opposition and danger, yet she pressed forward, seemingly unafraid of the lions and cobras in her life. Psalm 91's assurance of protection mirrors Malala's courage. Believers are encouraged to confront life's dangers with the knowledge that they are protected by an unseen force. Even in the lives of everyday people, this promise of angelic guidance can be a source of comfort and inspiration. Parents, for instance, often find strength in believing that their children are being watched over and protected as they grow and explore the world. For example, actor Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has frequently shared his deep devotion to his family and his reliance on faith to protect his loved ones. Johnson often speaks about his role as a protector for his family, trusting that a higher power is also watching over them. This aligns with the image of angels lifting up believers, offering comfort that extends not only to them, but to the people they hold dear. It's a reassurance that as they move through life's unknowns, they are always guarded and supported. Ultimately, Psalm 91's promise of angelic guidance is about empowering believers to live without fear. Just as pilots trust their instruments and leaders rely on their values, believers are called to trust in God's protection, knowing that they will be lifted up and guided through life's challenges. These verses offer a powerful reminder that faith is not just a source of comfort, it's a support system that actively works to keep believers safe, both physically and spiritually. Whether facing major life decisions, personal challenges, or even moments of danger, believers are reminded that they are not alone. This divine guidance allows believers to take on life's greatest risks and adventures with courage, knowing they are surrounded by forces that will catch them if they stumble. Like figures who have made their mark in the world through faith and resilience, believers can live boldly, unafraid of the obstacles ahead. Psalm 91's message of angelic protection reassures them that no matter where they go or what they face, they are covered by an eternal, unwavering presence, allowing them to walk confidently wherever life leads. In the closing verses of Psalm 91, we find some of the most heartfelt and reassuring promises in the entire psalm. God Himself speaks, declaring His love and commitment to those who hold on to Him. Because He loves me, God says, I will rescue him. I will protect him, for he acknowledges my name. These verses reflect the close relationship that God has with those who place their trust in Him. A relationship rooted in love, devotion, and the assurance of divine intervention when it's needed most. This notion of rescue and protection resonates deeply for those who have faced extreme challenges and emerged stronger because of their faith. Take, for example, Nelson Mandela, whose love for his country and commitment to justice saw him through 27 years of imprisonment. Despite the hardships he endured, Mandela maintained his belief in a higher purpose, which gave him the strength to persevere and ultimately lead South Africa out of apartheid. His journey reflects the promise in Psalm 91. Because he held on to his beliefs, Mandela found deliverance, emerging from prison not with bitterness, but with a message of reconciliation and peace. This verse in Psalm 91 assures believers that, like Mandela, they can rely on God's promise to rescue them when they hold fast to faith. Another figure who embodies this promise of deliverance is Maya Angelou, the acclaimed poet and civil rights activist. Angelou faced tremendous adversity throughout her life, including trauma and discrimination, yet her unwavering faith and commitment to self-worth helped her to rise above these challenges. She often spoke about her belief in a loving God who guided and protected her, giving her the strength to speak her truth and inspire others. Angelou's life mirrors Psalm 91's promise that those who acknowledge God's name will find protection and deliverance. Her resilience and impact are a testament to the power of faith to not only overcome personal struggles, but to use those experiences as a source of inspiration and healing for others. The verse, "He will call upon me, and I will answer him," speaks to the closeness of this divine relationship. It assures believers that they can reach out in times of need, and God will respond. Consider the experiences of someone like Steve Harvey, a comedian, television host, and motivational speaker who has openly shared his struggles with homelessness and career setbacks before achieving success. Harvey has spoken about how he turned to faith during his lowest moments, calling upon God for guidance and support. Today, he often attributes his success to the moments when he reached out in prayer and found comfort and direction. Harvey's story echoes Psalm 91's message that when believers call upon God, they will find answers. His journey shows that divine support is available for those who are willing to reach out and trust in a higher power. Psalm 91 continues with the promise, "I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him." This verse offers an incredible assurance. Not only will God protect and rescue believers, but he will also honor them. This promise reflects the idea that faith is rewarded, that those who remain steadfast in their trust will find not only safety but also recognition. Think of someone like Serena Williams, a tennis champion who has overcome countless obstacles in her career, from injuries to criticism. Williams has often spoken about the role of faith in her life, saying it helps her stay grounded and focused. Her perseverance and dedication have led her to become one of the most respected athletes in the world. Williams' journey reflects the honor that can come from faith and resilience. She's recognized not only for her talent, but for her spirit, embodying the Psalm's promise of honor for those who remain strong in their beliefs. The closing line, "With long life I will satisfy him and show him my salvation," is a promise of both longevity and spiritual fulfillment. It speaks to the blessings of a life lived in faith, where believers find satisfaction, peace, and salvation. This isn't merely a promise of years, but of a life enriched by purpose and connection to God. For example, think of former President Jimmy Carter, who has lived a long life dedicated to service, faith, and humanitarian work. Even into his 90s, Carter has remained active in building homes for the needy through Habitat for Humanity, finding purpose and fulfillment in his commitment to others. His life reflects the satisfaction and contentment that Psalm 91 describes, a life blessed by faith, filled with meaningful contributions, and sustained by a deep sense of purpose. In many ways, these closing verses of Psalm 91 summarize the Psalm's entire message, that God's love is constant and his protection is assured for those who love and trust him. It reminds believers that they are not only protected, but cherished, that they have access to a divine rescue and guidance that goes beyond mere survival. Figures like Mandela, Angelou, Harvey, Williams, and Carter serve as real-life examples of this promise, showing how faith can transform lives and empower people to rise above their circumstances, finding strength, purpose, and recognition along the way. Ultimately, Psalm 91 closes with a call to trust in this unwavering divine support. It's a reminder that faith is more than a belief. It's an active relationship with God, one that offers peace, strength, and hope in times of trouble. By acknowledging God's presence and calling upon him, believers are assured that they will not only find protection, but also discover a life filled with meaning and satisfaction. The psalm leaves us with the assurance that as long as we hold on to faith, we are never alone, and that we are always guided, protected, and loved. As we conclude this journey into Psalm 91, 1-2, one truth shines through. This shelter offered by the Most High is far more than a refuge. It's a source of profound strength and peace, accessible to us at all times, through every challenge. Life will bring its share of hardships, uncertainties, and dark nights, yet we are promised a place where we can find peace beyond what the world offers, a place where we can rest in the shadow of the Almighty. In these moments, when life feels overwhelming, remember that dwelling in the shelter of the Most High is about creating an inner sanctuary, a space within ourselves where fear and anxiety have no power. Just as Michelle Obama relies on family and faith to stay grounded amidst the pressures of public life, or Warren Buffett leans on his foundational principles during economic downturns, Psalm 91 invites us to root ourselves in a trust that goes deeper than circumstance. But this shelter isn't just a space for us to retreat to in times of fear. It's a place from which we draw the courage to step forward, to face the future with confidence. Think of those who have faced life's most intense challenges, figures like Oprah Winfrey, Nelson Mandela, and Malala Yousafzai. They found their own forms of shelter through faith, resilience, and an unwavering commitment to purpose. Like them, we can use this divine shelter as a source of renewal, a place that reminds us of our strength and empowers us to move forward. Psalm 91 assures us that as long as we hold on to this shelter, we are not just safe, we are lifted, strengthened, and guided. This psalm doesn't promise that difficulties will disappear, but it does promise that we can face them with a sense of peace and security that comes from knowing we are deeply loved and protected. It's like having a support system that is unwavering, always present, always ready to hold us up. We might not know the future, but we can trust in a force that's steady, constant, and immovable. When we carry this shelter within us, we can let go of the fears that once controlled us. We can navigate relationships, careers, and personal challenges with clarity and calm, knowing we are backed by a divine presence. Think of the mental strength that athletes like Michael Jordan draw from, or the unbreakable purpose that drives leaders like Angela Merkel. When we lean into the promise of Psalm 91, we are tapping into that same strength, a peace that cannot be shaken by the storms of life. As you move forward from here, take this shelter with you. Let it be your foundation, your refuge, your guiding light. The shadow of the Almighty is not a distant place. It's a reality we can live in, a relationship we can nurture every day. It's a reminder that we are not alone in this journey, that no matter what lies ahead, we have a source of support and love that is infinite and unbreakable. Thank you for joining Guided by Grace on this exploration of Psalm 91. May you find in these words the strength to stand firm, the courage to face life boldly, and the peace to rest deeply. May the shelter of the Most High be your constant companion, guiding you through every season with grace and hope. In this divine shadow, we are forever protected, forever loved, and forever held.